I'm Smriti Sudesh and welcome to Above the Fold show. We begin with the upcoming Tamil Nadu and West Bengal assembly elections as the focus shifts to polling day. We also track the latest in the Iran-Israel conflict, a key court ruling in the 2006 Malegaon blast case, and revisit Pahalgam a year after the attack. So stay with us for the full report. As Tamil Nadu heads to the polls tomorrow, there's a palpable sense of excitement in the air, with parties making their final push and key issues taking center stage. Joining us is our Tamil Nadu Deputy Resident Editor, D. Suresh Kumar, to break down the trends, challenges, and stakes in this crucial election.
April 23 may mark a turning point in Tamil Nadu's political history. The 2026 assembly election has shaped up to be one of the most intense and unpredictable contests the state has seen in decades, with a familiar rivalry but new and powerful disruptors in the mix. At the heart of this battle remains the traditional contest, the DMK-led alliance under Chief Minister M.K. Stalin versus the AIADMK-led NDA headed by Edapadi K. Palaniswamy. But the messaging this time was sharply polarized. Stalin framed the election as a fight between Tamil Nadu and the union government. He raised concerns over delimitation and representation. The AIADMK and its allies, backed by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, has pushed the double-engine government pitch, arguing it would accelerate development. What has made this particular election stand out is the entry of new political forces, particularly actor C. Joseph Vijay's Tamalaga Vetri Kalakam has drawn significant traction, especially among young and urban voters. Despite the party's limited statewide campaigning, analysts suggest the party could actually secure a double-digit vote share. Meanwhile, Seeman's Naam Tamilagachi continued its quest for steady expansion, contesting all 234 constituencies, once again fielding 50% women candidates, including a trans person. In this election, first-time voters, youth and women could play a decisive role, especially in the absence of a unified opposition front. Even marginal shifts in their voting patterns could influence outcomes. The DMK is seeking to retain power consecutively, something it has not achieved since 1977. The AIADMK is looking for a comeback, and Vijay is aiming for a major disruption in the bipolar political landscape, while Seeman continues to project the NTK as an alternative force. We will know on May 4th who wins, but before that, you have a crucial role. Do step out and cast your vote on April 23. Your vote is not just a choice, it is a signal about the future you want. So please make your voice count.
Also heading to the polls tomorrow in the first phase is West Bengal, where a closely watched contest is unfolding across key constituencies. Joining us is our West Bengal Chief of Bureau, Shiv Sahit Singh, to break down the key political currents shaping the state ahead of the 2026 Assembly election.
Most of the constituencies, more than 50% of the constituencies are heading to polls, 152 of them. What do you think are the most important bits that are shaping up the first phase?
So geographically, if we see this map, we see most of West Bengal going to polls from
Yeah.
Cooch Behar, Darjeeling, right till Purva
Yeah.
Midnapur. 8 in North Bengal and 8 in South Bengal are
Yes.
going to elections. And in terms of constituencies also, we are covering about 152, which is more than
Yeah.
half. Basically, this is not only in terms of numbers important, it will also set up the tone for the next phase
Next phase as
of
well.
election.
Yeah.
Key constituencies would be, we've listed a few, would be Darjeeling, Darjeeling in the north, and maybe Baharampur in Murshidabad, where Adi Chaudhary is contesting. Then we have Shubhendu Adhikari contesting from Nandigram. Of course, he's contesting again from Bhawanipur. Mothabari is important because on April 1st, there was this violence, and subsequently the NIA
has been arresting a lot of people.
Samserganj is again important because we have had we've been there, and 72,000 deletions is probably highest in West Bengal. Kharagpur and Asansol are important because we have key BJP candidates.
Sitting MLAs.
I think Beenpur State's Minister Birbaha Hasda is contesting. And Chakulia is a very interesting constituency because we have a former forward bloc and a present Congress leader, Ali Imran Ram's former MLA also, he's contesting. So in terms of candidates, we can say There's several candidates: Shubhendu Adhikari, Adhish
Right.
Chaudhary, number of Trinamool ministers, Udayan Guha, number
Birbaha
of
Hasda.
Birbaha Hasda, a number of Congress prospective candidates, a number
Yeah.
of left candidates who are trying to make some marks. So these are important candidates. The Election Commission is trying everything to make the elections free and fair without violence, but we'll only see what happens in the next few days to understand that. We've seen 8-phase elections. This is going to be a 2-phase election.
Yeah,
So
for the first time.
it's only on the day of polling you get to know whether the initiatives you've taken has worked or not.
Yeah, yeah.
In a major development in West Asia, US President Donald Trump has announced an extension of the April 8th ceasefire with Iran, just as it was slated to expire on Wednesday. The decision, posted on Truth Social, comes after a request from Pakistan's Army Chief Asim Munir and Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif, with Islamabad positioning itself as a key mediator. He also announced a delay in the planned attack on Iran and added that the US will continue its blockade and remain militarily ready until Iran presents a unified proposal. Iran, meanwhile, has not yet responded to Trump's announcement of the ceasefire extension. The move comes amid rising tensions in the Strait of Hormuz, where at least 3 ships were reportedly hit today. Trump also claimed that Iran is under severe financial strain and is pushing to reopen the Strait of Hormuz so that they can make $500 million a day. Diplomatic efforts remain uncertain. A second round of talks in Islamabad is now in doubt, with US's Vice President JD Vance staying back in Washington while Pakistan awaits confirmation of Iran's participation. Let's now turn to the Hindu Roundup for some of our exclusive content. Today's editorial title, Luster or Bluster, on West Asia's slowdown in the Indian economy, argues that India's economic slowdown is becoming increasingly evident, with the West Asia crisis acting as a key aggravating factor. New data indicate weakening industrial performance, with core sectors such as fertilizers, steel, and cement under strain, raising wider concerns for agriculture, rural demand, and investment activity. The editorial underlines that India's growth trajectory has remained heavily dependent on favorable global conditions. Against the backdrop of rising inflation and weakening investor sentiment, it calls for urgent policy intervention to revive demand, stabilize prices, and restore economic confidence. In another editorial titled Invidious Speech on the Prime Minister's Speech and Election Commission of India, it argues that Prime Minister Narendra Modi's April 18 address violated the Model Code of Conduct through targeted political attacks during an ongoing election process. It criticizes the Election Commission of India for its delayed and inconsistent response, suggesting a pattern of reluctance to act impartially. The editorial adds that if the Election Commission had approved the speech, it must justify granting such a privilege, examine its contents, remove it from other official platforms, and sanction the Prime Minister. The editorial warns that the Election Commission continued inaction, especially amid voting in 2 states, reinforces perceptions of bias and undermines both electoral fairness and institutional credibility. Tap the card above to watch both the editorials on the Hindu's Originals YouTube channel. In a significant development in the 2006 Malegaon blast case, the Bombay High Court has discharged 4 accused and quashed an earlier trial court order. Here are the details.
Nearly 2 decades after the 2006 Malegaon blast shook Maharashtra, the case has taken a significant turn. The Bombay High Court has discharged 4 accused and quashed a special court order framing charges against them. A bench of Chief Justice Sri Chandrasekhar and Justice Shyam Chandak allowed the appeals filed by Rajendra Chaudhary, Than Singh, Manohar Ram Singh Narvaria, and Lokesh Sharma. They had been charged under various sections of the Indian Penal Code for murder and criminal conspiracy, as well as the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act. The detailed order is awaited. On September 8, 2006, 4 bombs exploded in Malegaon in Nashik district, 3 inside the premises of Hamidiya Masjid and Baba Khabristan after Friday prayers, and 1 in Mushawarat Chowk, killing 31 people and injuring 312 others. The case was initially probed by the State Anti-Terrorism Squad, which arrested 9 Muslim men who were later discharged. The National Investigation Agency, which took over the probe, alleged the involvement of right-wing extremists and arrested the 4 accused who have now been discharged. In September last year, a special court had framed charges against them. The High Court later stayed the proceedings, noting a prima facie case for interference, while the accused argued that no evidence had been produced against them.
To help us understand the verdict better, we are joined by our Maharashtra Chief of Bureau, Vinaya Deshpande.
The four accused were on bail since 2019. 20 years later, after flip flops by multiple probing agencies, today there is no accused in the terror case. Nobody has been prosecuted. May it be the Maharashtra ATS or the CBI or the NIA, none of the agencies could conclusively and concretely prove any charges against the set of arrested persons. Moreover, their probes had produced different sets of accused. This has raised several doubts about the investigation in key terror cases and how the accountability of the government agencies entrusted with the responsibility of a fair probe is being questioned.
It's been a year since the deadly terror strike in Pahalgam that killed 26 civilians. Even as the region works to revive its tourism driven economy, the pain remains new for the families of the victims. More on this report.
On April 22, 2025, terrorists affiliated with Pakistan-based Lashkar-e-Toiba struck the Baisaran Meadows in Pahalgam, killing 25 tourists and a local guide. It was the first major terror attack on civilians in Kashmir since the abrogation of Article 370 in 2019. A year on, for families of the victims, the trauma remains unchanged.
मैं उसी में हूँ। मैं मेरी आंखें खुली रहती है या बंद होती है, मेरे सामने उनका वो गोलियों से लगा हुआ और खून से गिरा हुआ जो चेहरा है, वही जो उनका पड़ा हुआ शरीर है, वही मुझे दिखता है। अब किसी भी औरत पर उसके पति को सामने मरता हुआ देखना बहुत तकलीफ वाली बात है।
वही कमाता था, वही लाता था, वो मुझे भी देता था, घर वालों को भी देता था, सब कुछ वही करता था। बेटी हुई थी पैदा, तो वो भी पैदा गुजर गई, तो क्या करेंगे अकेली।
In June 2025, the Jammu and Kashmir government provided a job to Adil Hussein's wife. Maharashtra Deputy CM Eknath Shinde also extended support, with the house handed over through Minister Sanjay Sriseth. But for several other families, relief remains a promise yet to be fulfilled.
एक साल कैसे निकल गया पता नहीं चला। एक भी दिन नहीं ऐसा नहीं गया कि जिस दिन की उनकी याद नहीं आया। गवर्नमेंट जो आए थे बोले थे कि सरकारी नौकरी मिलेगा, मेरे बच्चे का जो पढ़ाई का खर्चा वो उठाएंगे, पर अभी तक जो सरकारी नौकरी बोले थे अभी तक नहीं मिला है।
In July 2025, 3 Pakistani terrorists involved in the attack were killed in a security operation in Dachigam. India also launched Operation Sindoor, targeting terror infrastructure in Pakistan and Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. On the first anniversary, Prime Minister Narendra Modi paid tribute to the victims, reiterating that India will never bow to terror. On the first anniversary, tourists thronged Pahalgam, many gathering at the memorial that bears the names of the 26 victims.
सबसे पहले लोग इधर ही आएंगे, इधर आके पहले इनको श्रद्धांजलि देंगे, उसके बाद पहलगांव जाएंगे।
नहीं डरते हैं, किसी से नहीं डरते हैं, क्यों डरेंगे भाई।
मेरा तो सबको एक ही संदेश है भाई, कि यहाँ पे आने, ये तो अपना घर ही है, तो कभी डरना नहीं चाहिए।
टूरिज्म है हमारा, ये एक बैकबोन है कश्मीर को डेवलप करने में, कश्मीर की इकोनॉमी को रन करने में। We request the tourists to come in a good number. We are here for them.
Even as activity resumes, security remains tight across the region. Authorities have also introduced QR code-based identification for tourism service providers in a bid to rebuild trust and reassure visitors.
And that's it for today. Thank you for watching. Please share your thoughts in today's episode in the comment section. If you found this video useful, don't forget to share it and save the Above the Fold playlist so you never miss an update.